You are now tuning in to Kickspot with Jinu Park and Migs.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another show
What up?
The Kickspot with your host, Jinu Park.
Yes, sir.
And
Migs.
you know what I like? The
What?
fact that you introduce me and then I introduce you.
Okay.
That's
Every show.
I think that's gonna be every show moving forward.
Or for any guest, they have to introduce us instead.
Yes, they have to do the intro song to us.
It's like if it's your birthday, you sing yourself happy birthday instead of everybody else singing it for you.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm down for that.
again, welcome everyone to a new episode. Is this what, episode 5?
Yes.
This is episode 5.
Yes.
And we're pretty excited. We're growing, putting out as much content as we can. And again, just want to say thank you for all the support that we're receiving lately.
Absolutely.
All of the comments, all the likes on YouTube, on Spotify, all the follows. We really appreciate that.
Also, all the controversial ones.
Yes.
I honestly, I like the hate.
Yes.
On the controversial ones. It tells me that we're doing something right. So,
Yeah.
I love it.
If you can't hate, you can't be great.
Okay.
I just thought about
Are
that.
you gonna write my own lyrics now?
No, definitely not. I
Okay.
will not be your ghost writer,
Okay,
Drake.
Oh wow! Can't believe we said it at the same time.
Weird.
Jinxies.
Jinxies. But yeah, today we're gonna have our episode is gonna be a little bit about my co-host here, Jinu Park. Give a little background about how he grew up in the music industry as a young up and comer, and he's also going to talk about his experiences with not just the music industry but after college, middle school, high school, after college, and then from the time that him and I met when we were doing our multi-level marketing days, when we were going door to door,
When we hated each other.
when we hated each
during
other.
a basketball game.
Yes,
We're gonna beat each other down.
Yes,
It's one of those moments.
yes, definitely. So we're gonna talk about some of that stuff, but and then also how he's doing now and his experiences today. And when I say experiences, he's going to share some of the things that he went through as an Asian American, and some of the, I wouldn't say xenophobic episodes, and some of the racial things that he's experienced. He experienced a fair share of those. He's gonna shed some light for us, just to educate us, and give some perspective on how an Asian American up and coming artist, student, working class individual was going through.
Education.
Does that sound about right, Jinu Park?
Yeah, I guess. It depends on whatever you're gonna ask me. So
gonna
hopefully it's enlightening for everybody.
It's gonna be some questioning. I'm a
little nervous.
I would start
Because I feel like I know some of the things you're gonna talk about, but knowing you, I feel like there's other
There's
things
gonna
you're
be
gonna
a curveball.
transition.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Normally we start with the show with what? Normally I'm asking our guests about a questionnaire.
Okay.
We're gonna skip that today.
Okay.
Today it's gonna be about you and only you.
Okay.
This is the only time, because most of the time it's about me.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna ask me some Jeopardy questions.
No.
So I got a little nervous there.
Definitely.
My
not.
hands are watering a little bit.
So, little background about my partner here. Not like that. Just to let you know, I'm engaged. And it's not with this guy.
Where's your ring?
Stop, dude.
Just kidding.
So, little background about how I knew Gina. We met about 10, 11 years ago when we were doing our multi-level marketing.
Is that long?
I think so, 2009. So about 11 years now.
Wow.
I met you December 2009 at Teddy's office when you guys came from LA. I remember that day.
He says we're not partners, but I remember exactly our anniversary date.
Yeah, I don't know what exact date it was, but I know the month and year that we met.
That's so crazy. Okay.
And then, yeah, so we met there. Knowing you for 10, 11 years, consider you as pretty much my best friend, one of my best friends. And let's see. We also have gone through a lot of things. You've shared with me some of the things how this episode came about.
Yeah.
You really wanted to express and share the experiences that you had when it came to you being an Asian American in a world that we're living in, when it comes to being discriminated and having some of the things that some of our fellow brothers and sisters are going through.
Yeah.
So you're also a R&B singer, correct?
Yes.
Is that correct, Mr.
I'd say
Jinu
R&B
Park?
pop.
R&B pop.
Yeah, I started off with actually the first song I ever listened to with words, because I was born in Guam, so it's a lot of island music.
Oh, okay.
And then when I was in Korea, it was "You Are Not Alone," Michael Jackson. The first, I never knew about Billie Jean or any of the Thriller or any of that. It was literally "You Are Not Alone." And then the second song I listened to was Boyz II Men.
What song? Water Runs Dry.
All of it. It was my cousin. He went to UPenn and he was in choir, and so he was like an acapella group.
The first song? I want to know.
Dude,
I know you know.
I don't even remember, to be quite honest. It was an acapella version of like all their songs.
Oh, okay.
I want to say it was like Water Runs Dry or
Of course it was. You're an emotional guy. That's the first song you listened to.
yeah. So that's when I started falling in love with R&B. And then during that phase too, it was like, pop was coming out. So then, I have a mixture of a lot of songs, R&B, pop. Back in the day, it was more like pop growing up is what I was really singing. And then I transitioned more into R&B as I got older.
Okay. Yeah, because you have, 2 to 3 albums already out?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
So I started a group when I was younger. So I think I have like 6 albums out. Actually.
I guess I don't know him that well. I guess it's 6. I was 3 short of the albums.
No, well, I mean, there's a few before that when I was younger. So if you don't count those, then.
Oh no, we're gonna talk about those younger days. Don't
Okay.
you're gonna bring that up. Yeah. Trust me, your boy band days.
Yeah.
We will bring that up. And your first song we will bring up.
Yeah.
And we're gonna play it.
Yeah.
This episode. So to all the listeners out there, it's a rap, first of all. That he wrote.
Oh, jeez.
I can't wait because I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun for me to make fun of.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll talk about that.
And so, in all seriousness, I wanted to talk to you about and let you share your experiences as far as we could start, I guess, from like middle school.
Okay.
And then your transition to high school. You mentioned to me that you've gotten beat up a little bit back in the day, and you still get beat up by me, to be honest.
Right.
So it still doesn't stop.
Yeah, right.
And
You're right,
so can you talk about a little bit of that, and can you shed some light on what were those things you were experiencing growing up?
Yeah, so actually when I was born in Guam, I never faced racism or anything in that nature. You grew up with a bunch of like Guamanians, Chamaros, and so everybody's like very family oriented. I mean, you're from the Philippines, near the Philippines, so everybody, when it's somebody's birthday, you go to the beach, and then everybody's welcoming you to, join their birthdays. So I never experienced anything like that. But when I remember moving to Seattle when I was about 9, and I was very dark skinned, and it was weird because Seattle, like the thing to do is wear your chanclas, your sandals with socks.
Yes.
And I thought that was like really weird because in Guam you would never see people wearing socks and that. So they had a different type of clothing that they would wear. I got picked on because I wasn't wearing a wife beater underneath, because in Guam you would never wear a wife beater and then a shirt. But in Seattle, I guess since it's colder, you do that. So I was already getting picked on at an early age. But I think more so when I was in middle school, I went to, I grew up in an area where there's quite a few Koreans.
Mm-hmm.
So Mukilteo is where I grew up, which is like 12 miles north of Seattle.
Where is it?
Mukilteo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of near Linwood. but it's where a lot of there's like this stigma of Asians. And if you went to Mukilteo or like Kamiak or Jackson High School, that's considered like the Korean, high schools. And so during the time when I was growing up, there were a lot of, I want to say quote unquote fobs that were, in high school. So I was playing the cello, and I was, holding it as I was walking back home. And I was getting picked on by a lot of these Korean people of, my own race, always telling me that I had to go bow to them. And I was like, it's not something that I'm used to, because I've never had to bow to anybody unless it was like my parents or their
or your grandpa,
or their elder, or the elders. And so I would always tell them, I'm American. I don't have to do that. Like, we're not in Korea. So because of that, I was getting beat up and picked on. Then I would go home, and then what I feared for was when I entered high school, because these people were juniors and seniors, and then I was a freshman. And so during that time, I got picked on a lot, got into a lot of fights growing up. And I'm not a big guy, and I don't like to fight, but there were a lot of times where I had to go and fight with my friends, and and protect myself because of that. And during that time when I was growing up, the boy band phase was there. So I decided that I wanted to start writing music and talk about those things. That's kind of the reason why I got into it, because I really didn't understand who to talk to. It's not like I could go to my parents and say, hey, I'm getting picked on because I'm Korean. Like, they would never understand that, because they grew up in Korea, nor do, like, I didn't have any mentorship as a kid growing up. And so the only thing that I could do was just write music. And so my mom would give me like $3 just for lunch every single day. And I saved up enough money to buy like a little keyboard and try to record music on my own. And then I would hide the keyboard underneath. My parents never wanted me to do music at all. And so I wrote a song with a friend of mine in high school. He was a white guy. And he was like the lead guy from like the choir and musical and stuff like that. And he was heavily into boy bands like Backstreet Boys and all that too. So we just,
who wasn't?
Yeah, I was an NSYNC guy, and then he was a Backstreet Boys guy.
I'm a BSB guy.
So his name was Josh. He went by JT, ironically, even though he's a Backstreet Boys guy. And so I remember telling him that I wanted to, and he knew that I was getting picked on by a lot of people, and I was getting picked on by white people as well too. So it wasn't just Korean people that I was getting picked on, but because I was Asian, I was also getting picked on by white people.
Hold on.
So
did you have any friends at all?
I mean, I had my friends of when I was growing up in middle school.
Okay.
So they were the ones that like protected me a lot.
Okay.
Which was good, but and they had older brothers and sisters, so a lot of times too. And then my sister had to come in a lot too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If it wasn't for my sister, I would have gotten into a lot more fights, because a lot of guys that were older, liked her. And so she would be like, hey, can you not like pick on my brother, or can you go tell like your friends not to like get into fight with my brother, and that kind of. She had to do that for me a lot.
She still does that.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, so it was pretty crazy. But I remember approaching Josh and telling him, hey, I've got this song that I really want to write, and I wrote it and I produced it, called United as One. I was listening to a lot of Linkin Park during that time, so it wasn't it's definitely a Linkin Park inspired thing. Wow. So I was rapping, and I don't rap. I'm a horrible rapper, but
I wanted to introduce this part, but I guess you kind of blew it out, for everyone.
So I'm a little shy to show this, because there's probably only like 100 people that actually have the CD that were in my high school.
So wait, people have the CD?
Yeah, so there's 15 tracks, and we're called Intrude.
And
you'll know what our group name is, because it's actually in the song.
To all those 100 people, is that 100 you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely intruded their lives. That's with that CD. That's definitely what you did.
Hey, I was a shy kid back then too. If
you still are, bro.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm more of an introvert, so definitely we had like our own concert and stuff like that. It was, if you saw video footage of it, Back in the day when VHS. I know one person that actually has.
So whoever
VHS.
has that VHS Betamax clip of Jinu rapping this song called United as One, can you please submit it to us, DM us on Instagram, and I would love to see that.
Oh man, it's horrible. I literally was just standing there the entire time while Josh was going out and doing his, musical performance, and it's pretty bad. But over 100 people went to the show, which was kind of cool. We were like printing out our own tickets and stuff, and we're just slinging everything. But I'm gonna play you the song, and I'm like very nervous to play it for you. But
I feel like you're forcing it on me and the world.
Shut up. But,
I'm excited for this.
Okay, so you ready?
No, but yeah, go ahead. I love it.
All right. United as One by Intrude.
You know how it's gotta be. INTRUD, you know how it's gonna be. Just cause of all the rich tension, I can't even imagine and mention. Well, life is just a worldly resignation. Living a rough life, I can't think twice. Worried if I gotta carry me at night. When you saw me with my friend JT, took me aside and I asked to be free. You beat me and I continue to bleed. I realized that I can see you guys weren't the ones I needed. Now I'm angry and I'm heated. What you gonna do? Just cause we're different, fool. I need the right path because of what you put me through. Yeah, because of what you put us through. United is one. We're different in many ways. United is one. Living life in other ways. United is one. The sun shines brighter today. United as one. We're headed the right path today.
Every time I'm chilling with my homies, evidently they don't see what I see, saying I can't truly be with the colored boy in front of me. They're just separating us apart, cause Jinu and me been cool from the start. We both know what's up and that's enough, cause we gotta be true to our hearts. Put away your stare, shut down your glares, cause no one around here cares. So what you gonna do just cause I'm different, fool? I need the right path cause of what you put me through. Cause of what you put us through. Cause we are
United is one. We're different in many ways. United is one. Living life in other ways. United is one. The sun shines brighter today. United as one. We're heading the right path today. Step up, we're coming through. You know that we bring to you. Now you know that you're done. Don't mess, we're united as one. United as one. We're different in many ways. United as one. Living life in other ways. United as one. The sun shines brighter today. United as one. We're heading the right path today. United as one. We're different in many ways. United as one. Living life in other ways. United as one. The sun shines brighter today. United as one. We're heading the right path today. INTRUD, you know how it's gotta be. INTRUD, you know how it's gonna be. INTRUD, you know how it's gotta be. INTRUD, you know how it's gonna be.
Yo, all you people who said this couldn't be done, me and Jinu, united as one.
For all you haters out there, I got one message for you.
What you got
Treat
for me?
everybody like equals. Peace, 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 peace.
There we go. It's done. That's a wrap. That was super embarrassing. That was really crazy. Very first song I ever produced. Wow. Very first, and the thing is, like, back in the day, like, it wasn't like today with like new equipment. You could line everything up.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was me literally punching in like every single thing. It took a long time just to make a track, but yeah, it was pretty funny.
I don't know how to feel. It's like I enjoyed it.
Do you want to scream?
You're right. It definitely reminded me of Linkin Park vibes,
Yeah.
which I love. Definitely got that old school. It's got that rock, hip hop, definitely Linkin Park influence into it.
You can imagine it's 20 years ago.
Right. I mean, that's what we were listening to.
Yeah, nobody was doing music back in the day like that. So,
Man, I mean,
independently.
Yeah. No, that was. I appreciate it. 'Cause I mean,
Just because you know me,
I
everybody's like, "What the heck is that?"
I always bump your music. I'm not gonna lie. Even in my car, it's weird. Like it'll go like when your song comes on, I was like, I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah.
So, but what a surprise! It's called United as One.
Yeah.
Is it on iTunes, Spotify? No.
No.
I think it should be.
No. I don't think it's ever gonna come out.
It's got a powerful message.
It does actually. Very dark though.
So yeah, and let me elaborate on it being dark because it was a little dark.
Yeah.
I felt your screaming in my ear.
That was actually JT.
I felt JT screaming.
Yeah.
Sounded like Chester almost.
Yeah. I couldn't scream like that.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Unless you were getting spanked.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't scream like that. He could make like a raspy voice to make it like that.
No, it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just thought it was cool. So before you made that song, and you made it during high school, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and when you shared us how you were getting beat up because you just wouldn't bow and you couldn't go to anybody. Sometimes Yuri had to protect you.
Yeah.
Funny story.
Yeah.
Did you make this song because you were motivated, or was it because you were angry?
Yeah, I was definitely angry and confused.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I didn't know how to tell anybody, and I don't think because I grew up in like a pretty predominantly white area.
Okay.
So
It's JT's white.
JT's white, yeah, and then I think my high school only had like three black people in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like we dealt with a lot of racism or anything like that. In that sense, it's like the black and white thing. It was with Asian and white,
Okay.
Russian or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, I was just fed up because it was like, I was born, like I said, in Guam, where everybody was just naturally just liked each other, and then to see hate like that and to be able to grow up like getting beat up because you just like people in general and just wanted to just interact with every single person, you couldn't because of who you were. That was super frustrating.
Did you feel like you were the only one that was going through that as an Asian American, or did you see other Asian kids kind of go through the same thing?
No, I think it was definitely me, just because I didn't want to bow. I didn't want to bow or do any of that stuff, whereas some of my friends ended up bowing to other people. I mean, ironically enough, I moved back to LA, start performing again, and I was on Instagram. I got a DM from somebody, and I had no clue who it was. If you look at their Instagram, they do pictures for LA models.
Mm-hmm.
And he just messaged me. He's like, "Hey, can you meet me in K-Town? Can you meet me at Donko?" Which is like a drink spot or whatever. And
Took me there a lot of times.
yeah, and I didn't know who it was, so I was like, dude, that's creepy. I don't want to meet somebody. And he's like, hey, I know you from Seattle, so I really would appreciate it if you meet up with me. And so after him telling me a little bit about like high school experiences, I was kind of wondering who it was. So I ended up going there, and he pulls up, and right when I saw his face, I was like,
You know who it was.
yeah, he was one of the guys that picked on me.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up to me and he was like, hey, I felt so bad for picking on you back in the day. And, I've been seeing you like making music and doing your thing. And, every time I looked at your pictures, I liked it. I just never told you who I was. But I just want to tell you that I'm extremely sorry for like everything that I did. And I've been holding this like guilt for picking on you,
Was that a validation?
It wasn't a validation for me. I didn't really care, because that part of my life with like that high school stuff, like, I'm friends with all of them on Facebook now. As they get older, they have kids. Like, I mean, what are they going to tell their kids, that they picked on somebody because someone didn't bow? Like, that would just be a disrespect to their kids. Like, if they want their kids to go through the same exact thing, I don't think that they'd want to. So I think they matured from that But definitely when I was going through it, I was very frustrated. I didn't know how to handle it, and that was like my first, long sting of the reason why I left my first high school and then ended up, going to my second high school in Edmonds. I had to ask a friend about, if I could use his address and convince his family. I never told him the reason why, and I was kind of embarrassed that I was getting picked on anyway. And so they were just confused, and that's why I ended up going to that high school instead.
Okay. And yeah, so it seems like you went through a lot as far as not only just getting picked on, but you shared us how you overcame it by being creative. You had an outlet for you to be able to deal with it. Maybe on a small piece. It probably didn't change or it didn't fix the entire problem, but you had an outlet.
Yeah.
To be able to at least go to the next day and show face and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Right. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I know also right around the time of high school, you were going through some transition as far as your possible entertainment career.
Yeah.
I believe you were either going to get signed or about to be signed or signed with, I believe it was, I took notes here, SM Entertainment.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they scouted you, right?
Yeah.
So give a little bit of a background and the history on that, and again what you went through and the experiences with that particular aspect of your life.
Yeah, so SM, which is still currently running today, it's the top 3 Korean entertainment.
They're still on.
Yeah, they have. I mean, if you're a K-pop fan, like you know what SM Entertainment is. So they were doing this audition. They went to like all 50 states, Europe and Asia, and then they would scout people, and then they would bring them to Korea, and then you do like a training program. So it's a rigorous training program where they teach you how to dance, sing, and rap. So you have to be a triple threat in order for you to become a singer or K-pop star. So, the fact that it was such a big entertainment company, my parents were against me doing music. The fact that it was so big in Korea, they knew who it was. That's the only reason why they actually approved me going. So I ended up going over there and, I felt lost. I mean, I didn't really know anything about Korea. And as I'm going through their training program and everything like that, I ended up, long story short, getting dropped. And my grandma had taken me over there because my parents were still, in Seattle working and stuff. And when they told her that the reason why they are dropping me, it's because I wasn't able to adjust to like Korean culture and that I was too American. And I was like kind of like cocky in that sense. You know me, like I'm just shy and introverted. I just think to myself a lot, and I if I did disrespect anybody, it wasn't in natural intent. It was just because I didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, I ended up coming back here, and I still wrote music, still performed and stuff like that. And then eventually I ended up getting scouted by an American label, and I'm sure you know about that because I've told you before. But so I ended up going down to LA, as a high school kid, and ended up meeting and a few A&R executives from the company, and they didn't know that I was Asian, actually.
Because you don't look like one.
Well, the album that came out, it was a cartoon. We never put our pictures on there.
Oh, okay.
And it was like during the time when like internet was kind of like AOL, like was like coming out, MySpace and all that stuff too. So I never put a photo of me. They just reached out and asked like if I can come down, so like audition to be able to get into this thing because they were interested. Right when I walked in, they didn't know who I was. And so as I was like performing for them, I just remember the looks on their face. They're like, hey, we want to be completely honest with you. You're Asian and the industry isn't looking for people like you. Straight up.
How old were you?
I think I was like 16, 17.
Okay, so you were a junior,
Yeah.
senior, almost senior year of
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah, so junior. And
Junior.
so I was kind of like, I was baffled by that comment, and I was like, what do you mean? I said, the industry is looking in the next 10, 15 years, we're going to look for Latino, Hispanic, people, and then Asian people were gonna look for them maybe in the next 15, 20 years after that. So fast forward the clock, it actually did transition into that. Like 10 years into it, I started seeing like Pitbull, J-Lo.
Reggaeton.
Reggaeton was getting very big. Like it had that transition. And then suddenly now you're starting to see a little bit of Asian representation, but there still isn't an actual figure yet that's like, big. I think Jay-Z only one that's really, he signed to Rock Nation. That was the only big.
Well, BTS.
thing.
I mean, Korean
that's different,
pop
though.
is
Yeah.
big.
That's K-pop though. But then if you talk about like an Asian person that is pursuing a career in the U.S.,
I mean,
there are people that have tried.
You've got Rich Brian,
Yeah. So you're starting to see a little bit of it.
88 Rising.
So even Far East movement was
Far East
with Fly Like a G6. But you ask people.
Oh, great one to bring up.
Wait, but you ask them like, hey, did you know that Far East movement was Asian? A lot of people will tell you, I didn't know that they were Asian. Like they know the song, they just don't know that they're Asian. So a lot of the Asian artists in America have really gotten lost with that. And so if you want to pursue a music career, the stigma was you either go to Korea and then you become a K-pop star and sing in Korean, and then they configure like what you look like, what they want from you. And there are certain things that you can and can't do. It's very strict. Or you try to make it in America where Americans don't accept you as being an Asian artist.
So, so you're saying it was very challenging to be pretty much a loss because you're a Korean American. You couldn't get accepted in your own country, in their own genre.
Absolutely.
And then you moved to the States and you got recruited by a major label. Still, they were telling you that right now we're not looking for your genre, your look.
Yeah.
We're not looking for that right now.
Yeah.
And as a 16, 17-year-old to hear that's going to be very difficult to swallow.
Yeah, especially because in a sense, I wanted to prove my parents wrong that, I could pursue a music career, something that I actually enjoyed doing, instead of them wanting me to be like the typical Asian with becoming a doctor or, a lawyer, a business owner, whatnot. But, eventually I just kind of chucked it up as a loss because back in the day, like YouTube and all these sources weren't around. You couldn't create your own opportunity as much. And if the color of my skin was going to stop me from that and make it a lot more difficult, I just didn't know what to do.
Got it.
So the labels were kind of the way in because they were going to invest money into you. And so I gave up on music. I was still writing music and doing that. But at that point, I was just doing it for myself and not just actually pursuing it. And so, I went to college and...
Perfect. So you went to college and then after college, you pretty much we did the multi-level marketing thing. So what we're gonna do right now, hold on to that thought. We're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna talk more about that experience, college, post-college. We're gonna talk about that and the experiences that Jinu had on that. So stay tuned, you guys. Thank you for listening. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Kickspot.